Do you ever feel like an unseen force is stopping you, like a smarter and stronger version of yourself is stuck inside the chains of your own limitations? Step 1. Trade your but for an. Limitations often start in the mind before they show up in the real world. Important people like Miyamoto Musashi thought that what we say to ourselves affects what we experience in the outside world. He told them to keep an open and flexible mind, saying that fixed thought makes people weak while an expansive mind makes people strong. Switching the word but for and is a key way to improve this. The word but creates a wall between earlier affirmations and recognizes problems while leaving doors open for growth, sending a message of hope instead of fear. Musashi taught that to be truly masterful, one must face the difficulties and fears of life without giving up. By switching from but to and, or from either or to both and thinking, problems become important parts of human growth. Musashi said that perception, which is the knowledge of what is possible, is stronger than sight, which only sees what is in the way. By deliberately using and instead of but in conversations, one trains their mind, which leads to better thinking and, eventually, different actions. This practice helps you break free from mental chains that hold you back. Step 2. Do one thing that scares you slightly. It's easy for fear to look like logic. It tells you that being uncomfortable is dangerous, not knowing what to do is failure, and taking a step forward is too risky. Musashi was smarter than that. He taught that you have to walk straight toward what makes you uncomfortable in order to master it. Not carelessly or mindlessly, but on purpose and over again. You don't have to do something scary every day to break free from limits. It's just a matter of doing something a little out of the ordinary. You can build courage. Training it in small steps over time helps it grow. Today is victory over yourself of yesterday, Musashi said. Keep in mind that he didn't say victory over the world, your enemies, or other people. The biggest fight is inside each person. You need to beat the part of yourself that avoids fear, moves backwards instead of forwards, and stays small instead of growing. So take it one step at a time. When you do one thing that scares you a little, you get used to being scared. You understand that fear is not a wall, but a way in. You learn that being uncomfortable is not a threat, it's a sign of growth. To be brave, you learn not to be afraid, but to move even when you're scared. You teach your mind that limitation is a choice, not a rule. When you choose to do something uncomfortable, even if it's just a small thing like having a tough talk, trying out a new skill, sharing an idea, or standing up for yourself, you start to change the way you think about fear as a sign to stop. Fear becomes a sign to lean in instead. Musashi knew this very well. He fought in duel, came up with new techniques, and wrote theory all because he was willing to face uncertainty head-on. He didn't wait for fear to go away before taking action. Fear went away when people did things. You may not be facing swords or battles, but your inner problems are just as real. Your fears could be of being turned down, judged, failing, being embarrassed, or the unknown. You get stronger every time you face one of them, even if it's just a little. Don't forget that you don't have to make huge jumps. You just need steps. A little fear, a little pain, a little stretch. If you do this every day, freedom will become the usual for you. Step 3. Declare a yes day for new opportunities. Musashi's theory stresses the idea of fluidity. His water book is an example of this, as it shows how water can change into different forms and situations. He says that being adaptable is a way to get past limits. He says that people should have an open, flexible mind to welcome new experiences instead of fighting them. One way this philosophy can be put into practice is the idea of a yes day. When you consciously accept new chances and say yes to things you normally wouldn't do because you're afraid, lazy, or doubtful of yourself. People who do a yes day break out of their usual patterns of limiting themselves. For example, they might turn down offers or avoid challenges without looking into the possibilities that lie behind them. This limit that you put on yourself can make life feel like a cage. Setting up a yes day can change people's lives because it gets them to think about options instead of ignoring them. This practice encourages luck, makes it easier to make new links, and creates new ideas and breakthroughs. Musashi said that a broad understanding of life can be found in everything, and that having a yes attitude makes one's life path bigger, opening up more lessons and possibilities. It's important to make it clear that a yes day doesn't encourage people to be careless or do things that go against their beliefs. Instead, it means a desire to improve oneself, be curious, and take advantage of chances. This could mean trying out new skills, hanging out with interesting people, taking smart chances, learning something new, or leaving your comfort zone. A yes day has effects that go beyond just the experiences one has with other people. It also helps with personal growth by showing how much of life one has been consciously avoiding. In the end, it shows Musashi's main idea that you need to move to get out of a state of stagnation. Choosing to say yes every day leads to movement, which in turn loosens the grip of restrictions. Essentially, focusing on the positive for one day could open up new paths and chances, bringing a sense of freedom that wasn't even apparent before. Step 4. Ask, what would my future self do? Miyamoto Musashi emphasized the importance of being mindful of time, focusing on the present and the implications of future choices. He advocated that all actions should stem from clarity, control, and a defined objective. One effective way to transcend personal limitations is to ask oneself, what would my future self do? This introspection helps individuals move beyond their current fears and uncertainties, allowing them to envision a stronger, more capable version of themselves. Rather than feeling constrained by present circumstances, individuals should consider the person they aspire to become. Musashi suggested that our future selves possess the courage to act and are unaffected by the opinions of others. They embody focus, discipline, confidence, and tranquility, enabling us to envision a future where we are unshackled from today's emotional distractions. By contemplating the future, we are inspired to elevate our perspectives beyond immediate fears and limitations. This broader outlook allows us to envision a successful, composed future self, prompting us to reflect on their potential decisions, habits, and priorities. Such contemplation can create internal harmony, helping us to break free from unproductive patterns and become more intentional and thoughtful in our actions. Musashi's approach to swordsmanship illustrates this concept. He visualized executing each move with precision, driven by self-assuredness rather than fear of his opponents. By adopting the mindset of our future selves, we can significantly transform our actions and identities. This shift liberates us from constraints, not through external change, but through internal growth and the embracing of new possibilities. Step 5. Dance a happy dance when tiny wins. Musashi's philosophy is based on the idea that small wins should be celebrated in order to build momentum and a positive attitude that leads to growth. He understood that discipline and mastery are important, but that to be successful, you also need to recognize your growth. Many people wait to be recognized for their accomplishments until they hit important milestones. This puts too much pressure on them and creates mental barriers. Recognizing and celebrating small wins is very important because they lay the groundwork for bigger changes. Dopamine, a neurotransmitter that boosts motivation and reinforcement, is released when these times are recognized. Celebratory actions, even if they are simple, can change your mood, stop you from being too hard on yourself, and keep your progress rooted in joy. Musashi told people not to do things that don't have any value, and he said that not celebrating progress is a waste of time. Instead, even small celebrations make habits that you want to repeat stronger. This method breaks down limiting beliefs that can come from thinking that your efforts aren't enough. Instead, celebrating every small step forward reinforces the idea that all of your efforts count. A few examples of small wins are getting up early, reading a page, finishing a job that was put off, resisting a bad habit, or being brave in small situations. This kind of praise not only boosts confidence, but it also helps build a personality that is in line with consistent follow-through, which is a lot more powerful than just discipline. Musashi also had ideas about the flow of life. He saw similarities between controlling the pace of a fight and controlling the pace of life by celebrating. To avoid stagnation, it's important to stay in a state that is full of energy and motion. In the end, you don't have to wait for big achievements to feel successful. Instead, recognizing small wins can help you feel successful and give you a sense of freedom. Step 6. Consume inspiration intentionally, like a vitamin. In a world that is getting more negative and distracting, the importance of deliberate mental nourishment is stressed, similar to how physical training is important. This quote from Musashi's philosophy shows that there are many ways to be successful and many places to find motivation. An important part of this process is choosing what thoughts and ideas you take in, making sure that what you're feeding your mind is good stuff, like taking vitamins every day. People shouldn't just passively take in knowledge. Instead, they should choose ideas, stories, and wisdom that make them stronger mentally and help them deal with problems. As an example, Musashi did organized things like reading, meditating, and observing, which made sure that his growth was planned and not just happened by chance. This text asks you to think about the things you think about every day and asks you to decide if what you're thinking about helps you or hurts you, makes you more or less disciplined, and makes you brave or afraid. People can change negative thought patterns into positive ones by choosing conscious inspiration on a regular basis. This opens up their potential and perspective. A key message supports the idea that mental limitations are often caused by a lack of powerful information. A well-fed thought makes for a strong spirit, which in turn affects what you do. Inspiration is shown not as an extra that can be added to life, but as something that is necessary, like food for the soul. It helps to open one's potential and link to greatness. Over time, incorporating inspiration into daily life, similar to how people take vitamins, builds mental strength and resiliency. Step 7. For 1 hour, pretend limitations don't exist. This step stresses how important it is to get past limiting ideas in order to use your imagination by setting aside an hour a day or week to live without any limits. For this practice, you have to let go of your fears, doubts, and past mistakes in order to discover the pure possibilities. The famous swordsman Musashi had this way of thinking because he trained his mind to be limitless and wrote a lot about seeing beyond the everyday. This mental exercise promotes the growth of new neural pathways in the brain, which helps people think of answers instead of problems. This exercise opens up your creativity and brings out your deeper desires, which makes you think and act with more confidence. People should think about what they would try, build, change, and how they would show themselves during this hour. This hour isn't just a dream, it's a powerful look at one's possibilities. Many important historical events happened when people dared to think beyond their current limitations. Musashi is a great example of someone who changed himself and opened his mind to endless possibilities. This practice helps people come up with big ideas, plan brave actions, and connect with the limitless part of themselves, which eventually leads to an expansion of their identity beyond what it is now.